Hello, hello, hello. Welcome there, everyone. Most of you, I think, will be catching up on this on the recording. So, we're going to be talking a bit tonight about why is I'm a nag with you guys when it comes to your programming. And there's a reason behind my method to the stuff that I set for you with resistance training, cardio, your warm-ups, to then talking about protein. Why is I nag to you guys about protein all the time? It's there for a reason. So let's start off with exercise just to kind of get it that part done first. So everyone always gets a bit funny when we do warm-ups, I find, at the beginning of sessions, whether it's going to be, I don't know, a cardio session, or if it's going to be where I've done one-to-ones in the past, but they're there for a reason. Think of it this way: we're like a robot or like a mechanical piece of equipment, and the reason that we have to do these warm-ups is we have to grease these joints. Now, I like to do what's called an active warm-up, so that's like doing body weight squats, squat and reach, twists, circles in your shoulders, all of those kind of things, and then building up the intensity over time. You could start a warm-up, say if you're at a gym, you could start it where you're on like a bike for 5 minutes, and each 30 seconds to a minute, just increase the intensity, whether it's speed or it's increasing sort of the resistance. So on a treadmill, a bit more like or of an incline, or with a bike, make more resistance with that. So yeah. But then after that, I would still say to you, please do a warm-up where you are moving those joints. You're doing all those kinds of hinges and movements in your body. So you've got grease to those joints. So then when you go into a session, you shouldn't feel stiff. You shouldn't feel sort of lacking that kind of movement. So you see a lot of people when they do a squat, they don't go deep enough. So you find that there's not enough hinge there. So having those sort of warm-ups definitely helps with that. So enough on that part. So just do your warm-ups. Okay, I see you guys. So the other thing I want to talk about is resistance training, because that's primarily what it is that I set for you guys. That's what I write in your programs. So why is it so important? So in the long sort of period of time, it's really important to our bodies. And I would say everyone, no matter what, should be doing at least 2 forms of it a week minimum. So even this is including, people like our parents, even our grandparents can do it. There's never a stage where it's too late to start resistance training. You even see like very young Olympic lifters now. I mean, that's a definite extreme, but of all ages, we should be doing some form of resistance training. So the reason for that is it's going to improve things like our lean tissue, obviously, because we're going to be building or maintaining lean tissue. You're going to be improving things like your cholesterol levels and your blood pressure levels. You're also going to be lowering your risk of degenerative diseases such as arthritis and osteoporosis, which a lot of women are obviously very prone to post-menopause, because we don't have estrogen in our bodies anymore. So we need something to give or take. And that's why good nutrition and resistance training is really, really beneficial for that. So that's one thing I would say about that. But the other thing about it is that it makes all your everyday life simpler and easier and less strenuous. Okay. So what I mean by that is doing things like, if you're a parent, you've got kids, picking them up off the floor, and because we know that as they get bigger, they get heavier, it's a lot harder. We balance them on one side on our hips. Picking up your shopping from the floor. I can guarantee whenever you're picking something up from the floor, you're doing a form of hinging similar to a deadlift. Now, if you're unable to hinge to go and pick something up off the floor, could be either a tight muscle, or we need to train some muscles to be able to support things like your posterior and your back. So it's very, very important. But also later on in life, it's going to help us in terms of living a more independent life for longer. We won't have to be dependent on others. That's one thing that is a really big thing. And I listened to it in a podcast today where, because we're very fortunate that our generation, we have the tools and the education to tell us we can take action now and look after our long-term health. And that's why it's so important. And resistance training is a big part of it. So the thought of, hitting 70s and then, or even 60s for some people now, and having to heavily rely on equipment, on, care, loved ones, it's not a great feeling, is it? So we don't particularly want that. So if we can live a longer, healthier life, it's a no-brainer. Now, resistance training, a lot of people think of it as, oh, I need to be lifting really heavy weights. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoy a heavy weight. I do. But it's not for everyone, and I'm very aware of that. And you need to do a form of resistance training that's going to be really good fun for you. So that could involve things like circuits, classes, and things like that as well. But as long as it's a way that you are stimulating those muscles and encouraging lean tissue to grow. So that is basically pushing yourself to the point where it feels uncomfortable during a session. So you could do it from absolute beginner level. You could say even a body weight squat, if they're doing between, 10 to 30 reps, and it is hard work, that is resistance training, because we're stimulating those muscles and we are encouraging them to get stronger. So, and then you can go all the way to the other scale where it's going to be like, you're going to see people lifting like 200 kg and stuff like that, which I definitely can't do. But so that's one thing. You can, like I say, you can do it. Like I said, for a lot of you, it's all over body workouts, because at the end of the day, we also have to fit it around your lifestyles. So all over body workouts that I set for you encourages you to work out on all of the muscle groups and have that focus, and encourage you to then build lean tissue, but also improve your endurance and strength over time. Then obviously we've got other people who are on more like the splits training. So I go upper body and lower body. And then I've got people who are even more into their split later on when they've got used to split training. And it's now like chest day, back day, shoulders, etc. So there's different forms of way to be able to stimulate those muscles. But no matter what, and it was a good point when I listened to this podcast today, resistance training, it should feel hard. It should hurt. I'm not talking like complete agony, but to the point where you are like gassed out and you are like, holy shit, that was intense. But you came out and you got a buzz from it. That's resistance training, and that's what you should be getting out of it. That says to me that you are stimulating those muscles and you're working your ass off. So when I put in your difficulty level on your workout, so it's like an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10, guarantee with the 9 out of 10, that's supposed to be where you are close to failure. You are so close to failure. That last set is fucking hard. It's the nicest way I can put it, but it's supposed to feel difficult. And the same with an 8 out of 10, it's going to feel tricky, but you've probably got like 2 or 3 reps left in the tank if you had to. So that's the one thing I say with resistance training. I like people to kind of work to close to failure, but not completely. The reason I don't like to go to failure particularly is because of a safety perspective. Like we're normally training on our own. So that's why I don't particularly like doing that. So resistance training can also include things like what people have heard of, which is hypertrophy training and strength training. So again, majority of your sessions are between the hypertrophy and endurance. And then for those who are going into split sessions, I'm then including the strength training and increasing on that. Okay. And then when we're doing things like our circuits and our HIIT sessions, our classes together, that is power. That's called power. And that is like explosive movements. We're really pushing our cardiovascular system and we're also pushing our muscles. So that's like that was a lot of at you there. So why is it that I put you in resistance sessions for your programs, particularly for those who want to tone up, lose body fat, all that kind of stuff. Resistance training is what's going to give you that desirable effect for what you want. So people often think, and I talk to relatives that still do this, they'll say, I just want to shift a few pounds. I'm just going to keep running. I'm just going to do lots and lots of running. Yes, it does increase their daily energy expenditure. I'll give them that. But in terms of like aesthetics and shape, not really going to do a lot there. It's going to be amazing for the cardiovascular health. And I'm all about cardio. I love cardio. I do it about 2 or 3 times a week. It's a big part and it's really important. Don't neglect it. But if you're wanting to have a thing where you want to be toned, resistance training is going to be your best mate here. So I do see this with a lot of check-ins where a lot of people say, oh, okay, yeah, I didn't do your sessions, but I did a lot of running and I did some HIIT sessions. That's good, but it's not going to get the desired effect that you paid me for. So that's why I set it for you. The other wonderful thing about resistance training is that it's going to make you feel so good. It's going to make you feel strong. It's going to make you feel empowered. Yes, you get DOMS, very normal, but it's there to show you, I'm actually doing something here. Okay. So please do not neglect it. And when you say say if you don't train with me in the future, bear in mind throughout your life, minimum 2 sessions per week of a form of lifting weights or resistance training. So yeah, I've got my checklist here to make sure I don't miss anything out. But yeah, so let's go into what I set in the programs, which is called progressive overload. So progressive overload means that we're continually challenging on a regular basis to improve your endurance, your strength, your fitness levels, energy levels, all of it. We're improving it over time. So progressive overload works in the sense that when you see it in your programs, I either up the amount of repetitions or sets you're doing on a weekly basis, or I tell you, right, you've got less reps this week, but that's because I want you to lift more. So that is a form of progressive overload. So remember that if the reps are going up, then you're probably going to stay around the same lifting, sort of how much you're lifting, or you're going to be lifting more because the sets have decreased. Remember that. It's a big part of your training. And you'll feel fantastic from it. And you'll notice that then on week 5, I always do it as a deload week where we bring the sets and reps back to not a gentle level. You're still working hard, but it promotes for your body to recover a lot faster. So then when you go into a new training month, you're going to kick ass again. You're going to have so much energy because you've got another level of intensity again, because you've got another load, which is progressive overload. It's pushing you. So we always want to continually challenge the body because we want to stimulate the muscles. So when you're training, you damage the muscles and they get inflamed and then they recover. Okay. And we'll go into the recovery and stuff like that in a moment. So with progressive overload, over time, your strength will stay at the same level. So for example, if you were shoulder pressing 10 kilos above your head, and you started off, the beginning of the month, and you were like, oh my God, 10 reps of that was insane. That was hard. But then say you got to then week 3, week 4, and you're on lifting, 12, 14 kilos instead, but you're doing it at the same amount of reps because you're continually doing progressive overload. You're stimulating your muscles, you're increasing your strength. And that's the sort of thing I want you to take away with this. Now, do also bear in mind that some weeks, particularly women, you won't be able to lift as much. And that's the second half of your cycle, which I talked about in the webinar on women's health. Now, if any of you want the catch-up video on that, please just email me or text me and I'll send you the link so you can catch up on it. So the second half is a bit more difficult for progressive overload. So that's normally when I'd say, okay, stick to around the same. But yeah, so I've just probably made that more confusing for you, haven't I? But yeah, so over time with increasing things like doing progressive overloads, increasing how often you're lifting, how much you're lifting, you're then going to be increasing your muscle mass. Okay. So it's then going to help create that desirable look that you want. So a lot of people do freak out when they say, I'm going to build lean tissue. They say to me, oh, Hayley, I'm going to get really broad shoulders and stuff. And I'm like, no, you won't. You really won't, unless you were performing to an athlete level. No, you're still going to have a very beautiful womanly shape, girls. For blokes, a bit different, because you've got much higher muscle mass that we can play with. So it is easier for men to build lean tissue, as you'll see from some of the male team members that we've got. So no matter what, it's a great thing to do. And I continually do it, but I will keep pushing myself. So this week, I can't believe it, I managed to deadlift 75 kilos. I haven't done that in about 2.5 years, because I've slowly built it up over time since having Harrison. So I've built it up. And I think when I started deadlifting, it was January, I was doing 40 kilos and I was doing 3 sets of 10. And I set myself a program that would slowly over time increase how much I'm lifting by decreasing how many reps and sets, but then that encouraged me to lift more. Okay. So that's why I set it for you guys. Again, I'll bring that back to it. So yeah. Now, when we come to talking about, like I said, the muscle damage and muscle repair and stuff in order to build lean tissue. Oh, I've got someone joining. Hang on. Over time, you will find that we need to start thinking about how we increase and look after that lean tissue. So like I said, when you're exercising, you cause the damage, you cause the inflammation, so your body needs to heal. So let's talk about protein. Basically, think of your muscles as a brick wall, okay? And protein is made up of what's called amino acids. And in that brick wall, each individual brick is an amino acid. Okay. And when we've done a workout, we've kind of torn those apart. We've really done some work there. So we need to put those blocks back in to strengthen that wall back up. So that's why I say to you to eat a set amount of protein. Like I've set you a target, depending on whether it's fat loss or whatever. We need to keep that wall nice and strong and together. Okay. And then over time, because say like people that want to build lean tissue, whether it's toning up and things, we're going to add on to it because of the type of diet you're on. So that's, decent amount of carbohydrates in your diet, which you guys naturally fall into for how I set your programs. Clever, eh? And with the protein. So if you're on a fat loss journey, for example, I'm going to explain why your protein target is higher when you're on a weight loss journey. So when you are working out, your body's going to look for the quickest way to get energy fast to fulfill that movement. So what's going to happen is it's going to take away the glycogen, which is basically from carbohydrates or sugars or glucose, which is stored in your muscles. It's going to take that away, but that's going to get depleted quite quickly. So then it looks for what's the next thing that's quick and easy to break down, and that's protein. We don't want to keep doing that. It's not great for our bodies to do it over a long period of time. Every now and then, it's not going to be terrible. But this is why we have to make sure that we're eating a balanced amount of protein throughout our day in our diet to fit in with our sessions. So we want to keep building that brick wall. So obviously with it being a quicker way than fat, because fat is a wonderful source of energy, but it takes a long time to break down into glucose basically for our body. So yeah, it will take away that protein. So we need to replenish it. Okay, so we need to put everything back into that brick wall over time. So, like I said, I calculate your protein goals depending on your targets. So if it's going to be looking at, I don't know, from a male's perspective, men will be predominantly having a higher level of protein target compared to women. Okay, it's just part and parcel of it. The other thing I want to really emphasize here is that as we, especially again, as women, but partially men as well, as we get older, that protein target, as well as doing that resistance training, becomes even more important. Okay, so like I said earlier, for women, when we've gone through menopause, estrogen's gone. It's not taking care of our bone density anymore. So we need to look after that lean tissue. And when we have no estrogen, naturally our lean tissue does start to deplete. So we need to take care of it. We can, through good nutrition and training, we can take great care of it. And that's the other thing. And I talk again about it in that women's health webinar, is that you can still eat well and promote to eat well, but with resistance training, when you've gone post-menopause, you could think about, you know, getting new PBs and lifting heavier, but you're more likely to do a sport that you enjoy then, like a team group thing or whatever, or just going to the gym in general. It's not going to be about, you know, trying to get to 150 kg on a leg press or something like that. We want to take care of it. So please take this away with you. If I'm not training you in the future, God, I mean, I'm only 32, got a while, but think of it this way. Take it away with you, ladies, that it is so important. So please watch that women's health webinar. Again, I can send you the link if you need it. So I think I need to go into talking about protein sources, like my favorite things, to kind of wrap it up, because it's quite a short, because I want to keep these quite short, snappy, not too long for you guys. But the other thing I want you to take on board here, when you're having your protein sources throughout the day, and people quite often ask me, how much should I be having throughout the day? And I say in each meal, if you can, between 20 to 50 grams per meal. Reason being is, firstly, it breaks it up nicely throughout the day. It's going to make you feel fuller for longer because it takes longer to digest in your body. But also, you need to make sure that you are replenishing those muscles as often as possible throughout the day. So any more than 50, it is going to get wasted at the time, and your body will just naturally pee it out, basically. It will get rid of it naturally. There are things online saying it's dangerous to eat a very high protein target and stuff. Sorry, protein diet. There's not actually any physical evidence of this just yet. So I just say, break it up throughout your day, make your life easier. And I've said also in the past, if you're really struggling to hit your protein target, work backwards through the day. So plan out what you're going to have for dinner. I know, like I used to do it, especially when I was training for my last photo shoot. I get up and I go to Tom, just so you know, this is what we're having for dinner. And he'd be like, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, Hayley. What? And I was like, yeah, but I need to put this into like my fitness pal now, so I know how much I need to have for the rest of the day. And then I would say, right, what am I going to have for lunch? Maybe it's normally like some sort of sandwich or an omelette or something like that. And then I know how much I got. Like I might need a little snack, whether it's a grenade bar or a protein shake, or go into something like a protein in my breakfast. Now, I will admit my breakfasts normally are not protein focused. I normally get up in the morning and have cereal and go to the gym. It's just a quick fix for me to get going. It's just my personal preference. Or like today, I wasn't working out because I got tonight's class in literally half an hour. Oh my God. And it's, so this morning I made myself like a protein packed porridge instead, which was really nice. So I'm going to share with you how I did that. So bear with me while I get it up. I'm going to share my screen. If it wants to. Cool. And then we'll go into this, and this is my favorite foods, basically, guys. So these are like my sort of go-tos to help people, what everyone's kind of told me in the past, and then I've taken with it, and then I found has helped me. So the first one here, this protein porridge 360. Now I will give, it is quite pricey, but in the winter particularly, this is a game changer. For those who are on the go with work or are cabin crew and take food down route with them, this is a game changer, and it's really tasty. Now, I know the picture shows apple and cinnamon, but I normally get the original because that one tastes banging. The chocolate one's all right, but that is really good. And per portion works out about 200 calories, I believe, but there's something like 20 or 25 grams of protein. So it's a nice start to the day. So I quite often have that, put boiling water in it. That's all you need to add is boiling water. And then I put some blueberries in there. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely love it. And it's a great thing to have. And I believe there is a vegan option as well. The other thing that I love is this True Nut powdered peanut butter. So one girl, Marta, who's in the team, she sent this to me, and it's actually incredible. So you only need 2 tablespoons worth, put it with some water, mix it together, and you've got a peanut butter paste. So I quite often would do that with, like, say, like I'm going to put it in porridge, or if I'm going to put it on toast, or I might put it with diabetic jam. Now, the reason I say diabetic jam is because there's literally like no calories in it. It's mainly sweeteners. Probably not the healthiest thing, but I like peanut butter jelly. So that is a really great thing to have. And you can get that on Amazon. I believe the tub was like $5, and it lasts a long time. So when I said I had a protein porridge this morning, I actually had normal Scottish oats, and I mixed the True Nut butter in. And I think per serving was only something like 50 or 60 calories. Yet it had something like 15 grams of protein or something like that in it. Something crazy high. It was really good. So I highly, highly recommend that. Such a great way to do it. And also, you could mix it with soy sauce and make a satay chicken in the evening. You've got a satay chicken sauce. I did it with prawns once. Literally incredible. Highly recommend. Highly, highly recommend. So the other thing you can see here now, people say give or take to these spaghettis. I personally really like them, okay? To me, it tastes like pasta. Pasta to me doesn't have a huge amount of flavor. Maybe it's me. But from a nutritional point of view, these are fantastic. They have got a really good amount of protein in them, but they're also high in fiber, because I moan to you guys about fiber all the time because it's so good for your digestion. It helps with bloating and everything else. And it's also good for your cardiovascular health. So yeah, really, really recommend those. Give them a go. They are from Aldi, and they've actually got more and more popular recently. And I have to admit, I have to go like on a weekday morning just to be able to get them, because they quite often sell out now. I think everyone in Havant loves it. So the next thing you can see here, they've got a picture of a bagel, and everyone's like, bagels? I didn't think you could have a bagel. You can have a bagel. You can have whatever you like to eat. But I get wholemeal bagels. They actually have 9 grams of protein in them. So in the past, I've done a toasted whole grain bagel. Then I've done my True Nut butter and a bit of diabetic jam, and I've got peanut butter jelly on a bagel. Or if you're having lunch, you could put some leaves in it, and then like some chicken breast or whatever it is that you like to have a good protein source. You have that there. The one thing I've just realized I haven't put on this picture, and recently, and I know people kind of go, what the fuck, Hayley? Tofu, okay? Tofu is actually really nice if you know how to cook it. So recently my husband and I've been dipping it in olive oil, and then dipping it in corn flour, and then just pan frying it. Incredible. If you want to treat yourself to like a higher calorie dinner, so I set most of you like a higher calorie 2 days per week, you could do something like I do a tofu laska, which I learned from HelloFresh. Have a look at that. It was incredible. Again, I took away the regular noodles and I used these soybean spaghetti instead and treated it like a noodle. Really, really good. The other thing you'll see here is we've got skyr yogurts and then you've got the protein yogurt down here. So these are just two different brands. Again, Aldi and Lidl do their own versions. These often have between 17 to 20 grams of protein per serving. I will admit, when I have them, they do make me thirsty. So I often would have that with fruit in it. So like strawberries, berries, blueberries. It's really nice and actually very, very filling. So you could either have it as a dessert or you could have it as a breakfast. If you're not really a big breakfast eater, this could help you. And you'll notice the protein strawberry 20 grams thing here is that is like a pouch and you could have it like on the go, like a drinking kind of thing as well. So yeah, now the other thing is here is this company called Eat Lean. So these are like, they're a high protein cheese, but low in calories. And their options have improved tremendously over the last couple of years. So I always get, it's this one here at the back, this blue pack. And it's, I will admit, it's quite a hard cheese, like just as hard as like Parmesan. But I often would like grate it a bit off. So like, I don't know, 20 grams of it, and then melt it on top of one of my dinners. Or again, I'd put it on a bagel or something like that, or on top of inside an omelette. That's really good. The other thing they now do is a spreadable cheese. Guys, it is banging, okay? I can't have it because it's not lactose free, but the hard cheese is lactose free. For anyone that is lactose intolerant, really recommend it. But they do other things like, you know, like if there was like a Parmesan to sprinkle on top of your meals, have a look at their website. It is very good. Like I say, it is a bit more money, but I feel it takes me a bit longer to use up their stuff. I just find it lasts a bit longer. But yeah, definitely give it a go. I always buy the big blue block when it's in Tesco's on offer. So during normal times, it's £4 for a pack, but Tesco's quite often put it on offer for £2.50, just there. The other thing is here's the meatless meatballs. These are from Aldi. Now, these are actually really good and they're very high in fiber again. I'm often finding that a lot of vegan products are high in fiber. So I like these because they're protein packed. Per serving is about 20-25 grams of protein. I quite often then do it with a little bit of the spaghetti, and I'd make up my own sauce with like a tomato based sauce and chuck in a load of veggies, lots of veggies. Suddenly I've probably got about a 50-gram protein packed dinner there. It is amazing. And out of all the meatless meatballs that I've tried, that one's the most tasty. So yeah, that's from Aldi. You're probably wondering why I've put something here called the Protein Queen. Now this is quite a good treat. I would say treat, very much emphasized, because she's not cheap, okay? But she does the most incredible protein goodie snacks. So I bought this protein pizza one. So everything's sweet. And it was salted peanut butter and white chocolate cookie. And the macros on it were amazing. It was like one slice was 20 grams of protein and 160 calories. Unreal. Unfortunately, I couldn't hold myself back and I ate most of it pretty quickly. But she does like different types of brownies, blondies, fudges, and they're all protein packed. So have a look at her website. If you ever want a treat, she might have changed it now, but she would only do a release on a Friday. So have a look at her Instagram account because she might have changed how it's all going because she's now moved to a bigger kitchen. So she might take orders all throughout the week now. The other thing that everyone's been talking about down here is I've put up the vegan one here, which is the clear protein that a lot of people are drinking at the moment. It's normally got about, I think per serving is about 10 grams of protein in it, and it's about 50 calories, and it's quite a nice sort of refreshing drink. And a lot of people have been putting them into like lolly makers and having nice ice lollies that are really low in calories, but protein packed. So it might be worth having a look at that if we ever get any hot weather. The other thing is that you've probably seen it before, you've got like YouFit, you've got Grenade doing all of these like shakes that you can take with you. Personally, I don't do them often because they're not great for the environment because it's all plastic waste. But, you know, if you're on the go, you're busy with work and stuff, they're fine as long as, like, these are probably more towards people who are not on a plant-based diet. However, YouFit, I think it is, might have brought out a vegan option. And when I was in Asda, they now sell vegan ones in the free from section. I can't remember what brand it was. I think I bought like a Mars bar one once. I might be wrong. I can't remember, but there is definitely some dairy-free options now in Asda. The other one is the obvious, the protein bars, which a lot of us do now. I would say protein bars, they're very good. They're quite pricey. And they're great every now and then. However, don't have them too often because they can cause constipation, basically. It's the same with like the protein cookies you can get from like MyProtein and all of those brands. They're all going to have the same kind of effect and not particularly great on digestion. And there is a lot of additives and stuff in them, but every now and then it's not going to hurt. Okay. Fulfill is the vegan option. I know that MyVegan also do their own protein bars and they're apparently really nice, but from just what I've tasted, both Grenade wins hands down. They're the tastiest, but Fulfill is up there still, pretty decent. So those are just like a few of my faves really that I like to go to, and hopefully that helps you guys. Maybe you've taken a picture of a few of these to take with you. But yeah, so I'm just going to see what the time is because yeah, I've got class in 20 minutes. Good God. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Just double check, and I'm going to give you guys just a couple of seconds if you've got any questions. If not, I'm going to end it there. But yeah, I hope that helps in terms of just give you guys a little bit of understanding on, you know, sort of go-to snacks that we can have, and just kind of, I know what it's like when, because I've got a lot of new starters starting. So obviously a lot of you will be watching the recording who are new starters. Don't panic. It does take a couple of weeks to get used to, but everyone falls into sort of naturally getting used to it, and it just falls into place over time. It's about kind of, you start to get more mindful with what you're eating and making more conscious decisions to help, you know, achieve your targets and things. So like I said, don't put pressure. You can always text me, or have a look at my Instagram. Both of them, the Crew Fitness one and the Mrs. Chatterton one, I put food ideas. If you're on the Mrs. Chatterton one, if you scroll across a bit, I've also got when I was flying and what I was taking on the plane, which can suit people who are cabin crew and also people who, you know, eat on the go and things like that in their jobs. Because I've got a lot of people that work, you know, in the forces and all kinds of things. So definitely have a look into that. But yeah, cool. So I'm going to leave you guys alone, but I hope you have taken a lot from this, and I will put together a plan of action, what the next discussion will be next month, but I'm hoping it will drop some more knowledge bombs on you for next time. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.